the Bliss Business Podcast, the show about empathy, connection, and consciousness in business. Today's episode is brought to you by Zero Company, your paid search, social media, and programmatic ad experts.
Welcome back to the Bliss Business Podcast series, Scaling with Purpose. These are our 10 to 15 minute short episodes where we explore how to embed purpose into every part of your organization. I'm Stephen Sakach here again with Tullio, Siragusa, and Maher. Hey guys.
Hello.
All right. So today's episode is all about evolving purpose for long-term success. How to let your company's purpose grow and shift as your organization expands and keeping it relevant, grounded, and meaningful. Let's dive in.
Well, thanks, Stephen. Well, to begin, purpose isn't static. It's a living, breathing part of your business. What you stood for at day one might still be true, but how you express it, how you serve it, and how it fits into the world may need to evolve. And if you don't evolve with it, your message can start to feel out of touch or overly narrow, which is a challenge that's probably why it keeps people from following their purpose. Things get a little bit narrow and then they lose face.
The only static thing in life is change. So companies grow, markets change, technology advances. I mean, look at the advancements we've had in technologies in the past few years. Society values also shift. I mean, we've seen that too, post-pandemic, during the pandemic. And organizations that endure are the ones that stay true to their essence. So it's about having the essence of what you stand for. You know, it can evolve, it can change, it can adapt, but the essence, that's always there, right? So while expanding your understanding of what purpose looks like in action, staying true to the essence is key.
Yeah, so it's death, taxes, and change, Tullio. Those are the three we've discovered us. So think of your purpose as your organization's DNA. It should inform every decision. It can express itself differently depending on your stage of growth, the challenges you're solving, or the community you're serving. So how do you know if it's time to evolve your purpose? Not abandon it, but refine or expand it. Here are a few signs. So maybe you're entering new markets and your original purpose doesn't fully encompass the broader impact you're now creating. Your team or customer base has changed. So there may be a disconnect between your messaging and what people care about today. And maybe your internal culture feels unclear or disconnected from your brand promise. Or maybe your purpose was always implied, but never fully articulated. And now your scale demands kind of that clarity.
And, Steve, let's be clear. Evolving purpose isn't about chasing trends. It's about
say that again. Say that again, Ash. Say that again.
Evolving purpose isn't about chasing trends, which again, everyone tends to do that for whatever reason. Oh, I just saw this video from this person and so on and so forth. Now we got to do it this way. No, it's about reflecting more deeply on who you've become and who you're here to serve now.
Absolutely. There's no such thing as opportunistic purpose, guys.
Nope.
That's when you're chasing the trend, you're being opportunistic, and you could try to justify that you're being purposeful. No, that's not what we're meaning here, okay? So let's talk about what's the difference. How do you really define this? And it could be as simple as like you're a business that develops educational apps. Mm-hmm. Is that really your purpose? Well, the purpose might be we spark lifelong curiosity in every child, regardless of where they start. And part of sparking that curiosity could be developing educational apps today. It might be something else later tomorrow. But the essence of sparking that curiosity stays true. Or it could be we offer HR software. That's exciting. Versus we empower people first cultures through data that honors the human experience. That's an elevated purpose. Now, that could be through HR software, or it could be through something else in the future. The other pattern about this is that when you have clearly defined your essence and your purpose, your business can also evolve and expand with it. It's not limited. Being purposeless is actually running a limited business. So let's do another example. We do interior design. Woo, so exciting. We do interior design. Or we turn spaces into stories of who people are and what they value, right? That could be through interior design today. It could be something completely radically different tomorrow, but the essence stays true. So it's important to capture something like a core ideology of what the essence of your business is that can evolve with the times and even expand what you do with the times. So it's so important to get it right, you know?
Yeah. So let's talk about how you evolve purpose without losing your soul. I think, it's important that we kind of cover evolving your purpose with integrity, right? So here are 3 key strategies.
Well, the first one is reconnect with your origin story. I love this. So before you change anything, go back to the beginning. What pain point were you trying to solve? What lit you up back then? The best evolved purposes are rooted in that original spark, but interpreted in a way that's relevant now. So the origin story is everything, but then the interpretation of that story evolves as things change over time.
Exactly. It's like, what is your bare sheet, your genesis, your beginning? And then the other one is to listen to your community, right? Purpose isn't just an internal exercise. It should resonate with your employees, your customers, your partners. So how do you do that? Well, you can use surveys, you can use town halls, interviews. Ask how they interpret your purpose and how they see you making an impact. Ask them how they see themselves fitting into that purpose. You may find language or themes that elevate the message you've already been living. So that's the gift of that connecting and listening to your communities. They can help you further define it so it's better connected with everyone.
Absolutely.
Yeah, and the third one I want to focus on is testing and communicating with authenticity. So when you evolve your purpose, don't do it quietly or behind closed doors. Share the why. Let your team and your audience into the journey, right? It builds trust. It reminds people that you're growing with intention and not drifting. And this really, it does improve the authenticity of what you're doing. They're seeing your struggles and your growth, and they want to be right along with it when you share openly in that manner.
Yeah, you know, I think about this. It's a super random example. It's one of my favorite yogurt companies, Chobani. So they started off with a mission to make yogurt more accessible. That was literally their mission statement, right? And as they grew, their purpose evolved into better food for more people. So that broader framing allowed them to launch new products, support refugee hiring, and advocate for food access without abandoning their roots.
Yeah, I love that. I mean, I know from our own company too, we have our sort of our bliss philosophy, and that's really where we've kind of came up with our product, the AI CMO, is out of this, how can we build love into scalable systems? And so this is where one of those areas where AI CMO can help you. And so one of the most powerful things that the platform does is to help you clarify and refine your company's purpose, especially when you're at an inflection point. So we take you through this process that goes back through your company origins and dives into your values. So if you're reworking your purpose and you want campaign ideas around a new purpose, check it out. It helps you define or rediscover that emotional core of your brand. And then from there, it guides you through identifying the purpose and then aligning messages around it, building campaigns that reflect it authentically across all those touch points. All right, to recap. First off, this is our last episode of our Purpose Kit series. This is a good one, guys.
I love this. It's such a great
I know.
Yeah.
Our Scaling the Purpose Kit series is the last one, but we've got another Kit series.
We've got another one coming up, but I think like all these different parts of putting purpose into every part of your business is really to help you with that authenticity, like we talked about. Because we can have tools like AI Chief Marketing Officer, but if you're not living it daily, I think that's where your marketing can go a little sideways, right? Yeah. So that's why we're talking about, let's bring this into every part of your business and kind of auditing your business by your purpose. And so if you're evolving your purpose, you may want to go through that whole series again, right? Because now your purpose may have changed. So at the end of this process, you might need to go through every little part of your business again and say, okay, I think we can do better here with a differently, articulated purpose. It's been a good series, guys. I've enjoyed this, and I'm looking forward to our next one. But I think this is really kind of has to go hand in hand with the stories you tell about your company.
I absolutely, and we covered so much too, and lots of stories and brands, examples, and stats. So yeah, if this is the first one you're seeing out of the series, go back and start from the beginning.
Yeah,
for
get
sure.
a couple dozen more episodes there.
Yeah, and you know what I find this most relevant? I mean, for some of the listeners, some listeners who are able to say, okay, this is validation that we need to keep the good fight, keep believing in our purpose, shifting it, reinterpreting it, and the changes that have occurred in our business. But now there are other people who are stuck in organizations where maybe they're managing departments where they want to roll this out, but they're finding that other departments and maybe the organization as a whole has lost their purpose. And that's where it becomes a challenge. So knowing that that's the case, it's so relevant to stick to the good fight, because what really beats down purpose, if you believe in this wholeheartedly, it could, maybe your peers do not believe in it, right? That's where it becomes the ultimate test of, stick to your guns. If you feel as though this is working within your department, you gauge it based on how your peers, your employees, your colleagues, the people that are working with you, how are they feeling in that department? Are they happy? Are things getting done at a higher level? Is there a certain level of accountability that's being managed effectively, right? Where it's like, okay, we don't have to micromanage. We don't have to really be on top of people in certain ways. Everyone has their self-managed approach. So with that said, these are ways to gauge it, especially in environments where sometimes purpose seems like it's getting lost in the mix. How do you bring it back, right? Well, just stick to your guns, have faith, and let the results speak for themselves.
That is so key. It's I always think like this idea, like when you're raising children, they're going to do what you do, not what you say. And so it's similar. Customers are going to respond to what you do, not what you say. You can say whatever you want, but if there's no alignment as a company, if your purpose, the way your employee base is set up, the way your operations are set up, the packaging, everything we've talked about, if there's not an alignment there, it's not going to land because it's not genuine. So it's so important. And if you want to understand the difference between mission, vision, and purpose, some of our earlier episodes, the producer series episodes, when we first started this podcast, we go into those details as well. So again, if this is the first time you're watching, watch this entire series and go back and watch some of the producers of the series as well that go into those details as well. Very educational. At least we try to be educational.
And before we go, I want to say, right now, something like 80% of the world's workforce population is disengaged.
Yep.
They don't find meaning in their work. 80%. And they're doing it, every day, day after day, slogging through it. And I've always said, this is just a real tragedy. It doesn't have to be that way. Sometimes it's the smallest perspective shift. But almost all the time, it's around purpose. It's trying to find that deeper purpose, that higher purpose in what you're doing. So, if you want more engaged employees, like Ash was talking about, or better culture, this is really where you've got to start and you've got to spend time with, and it'll make a big difference in your business. Thanks, everyone, for listening. Don't forget to subscribe and share this with others scaling their business with purpose, love, and intention. And until next time, we'll see you on the Bliss Business Podcast.